sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you, 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 won't you let the light shine through? In the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
Over the edge, feel like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent. Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm fearless. Exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance. Not the life I want to live, I want to take it all. Standing tall, fear outweighed the person you are. Oh, break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it in a sense, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
Good evening there, and welcome to our latest Elite FPL podcast, recapping on all the game week action from game week 37. As you can see, the three amigos are here in full swing. We've got myself, Mr. Bull, and my good friend Steve-O and Jason. How are we tonight, gentlemen?
Yeah, doing good, thank you.
Good. And we got any of the regulars in chat at all, Jason?
Yeah, we've got a few people watching, but we've just only got Notorious Nerd at the moment speaking in chat. So nice and quiet. It's been a bit of a break, a bit of a tiny little break from our podcast. So hopefully people will be joining us shortly.
Yeah. So we're going to be recapping on how our teams have done over the game week, which seems to have lasted forever. Obviously started on Friday and finished last night with Man City beating Leicester City 1-0. Going to be looking at the teams in our Torbay Elite Cash Mini League that, as we say, we take very seriously because there's serious dollar up for winning. We're also going to look at our Elite FPL Mini League as well and the community standings in there, see how our teams are doing. And yeah, we're nearly there towards the end of the season. So this is crunch time, as they say. So really just going to be seeing what teams have got differentials and who's going to be moving up the league. And I see Steve-O there with his PlayStation 4 controller looking like he wants to get something off his chest.
Yeah, so
it's called Game Week 37.
Yeah, it's been one of the. I tweeted it out the other day. For anybody that doesn't follow us on the Twitter page at Elite FPL, I've decided to start using the poll function because, as I tweeted out earlier, I seem to find it a bit of fun and get quite a good response to it. And one of the poll tweets that I posted out the other day was, "Is this one of the worst game weeks in FPL history?" And for me, it's been a joke. It's been absolutely appalling. I did a solo podcast the other day about it was a bit clickbaity, but it was genuine regarding the triple captaincy on who I would put it on. And I just wish I'd stuck with Salah. I really do. I even though it would have only been an extra 14 points catching on Jason, at least it would have paid off. I was actually listening to the match last night, and all I could hear was Raheem Sterling gets the ball running at Leicester's defence, and then he passes it to so and so. Oh, they blazed it over the bar or done this, that, and it was very frustrating. And and I even joked on Twitter with FPL Partridge that, you know, I would rather have captained Son, triple captained Son, just to potentially have got some form of viral picture tweet about the fact that I triple captained Son, because no matter what happened this week, I made up 4 points on Jason. 4 points. I've crashed into that 100-point mark. Yeah, and that 96 points, that 100 points is being condensed to 96. And yeah, I mean, my biggest point scorer for me was Laporte. He just seems to be the hero of the hour. You may as well captain him game week 38, to be honest with you. He seems to be the only Man City player consistently getting points. The rest of my team, a joke. Calvert-Lewin against Burnley did absolutely nothing. Which reminds me, actually, I want to apologise. I want to explain something, really, that there was a reason why we didn't do a reflection podcast on Sunday over the fixtures, because due to the fact that Jason was away at the weekend, so we couldn't do the live stream. But just to let people know, I didn't want to do the solo podcast because it just takes so long to upload. It takes, like, for me to cover the fixtures, and, you know, predominantly I'm going to be speaking for like 30 to 40 minutes, which is quite a long time, but I'm fully aware it's for the hardcore elite FPL audience only. And it takes 5 to 6 hours to upload. And I just think that it's almost like patronising to people that, you know, watch FPL content, because we all know you want it instant like that. And unfortunately, we can't live stream from our mobile phones, whatever. So yeah, I didn't bother doing one. But yeah, Calvert-Lewin not doing anything against Burnley in a 2-0 victory. Again, another. Yes, yeah, so Calvert-Lewin, one of my differentials doing absolutely nothing. My Sterling triple captaincy doing absolutely nothing. It's just, I mean, differentials.
Just to interject there, Steve-O, what was the thinking behind triple captain Sterling? Because his form of recent's not
fear. It's fear, mate. And in fact, I'll tell you what, right? I wanted to do not a tweet, but something earlier on where I was like, what sums up this season so far? Like, what do you think has gone wrong for your season so far? Because I know there's quite a lot of people, including Jason, and I actually found out myself what it was, but I want to know what people's reasonings as to why we've dropped so far behind. So, for example, I've dropped literally 10,000 places over the last 5 game weeks. And I worked out that one of the reasons why is because, now this is just pure hindsight here, but since getting rid of Ryan Fraser and bringing in Son for him, I've basically missed out on, I worked out to be 23 points. Another thing is, I wish I'd gone with my gut instincts for captaincy, because there's been several podcasts that I've done where I've said, I'm going to go with this guy. Comes to the final decision, and I've gone into panic mode, and I've literally gone out of fear, like I've just answered to your question, gone out of fear and gone, now I'm going to have to do it on Sterling or whatever, rather than just playing my own game. And for me, I'm just really, I don't know, just really annoyed at myself for not going with my gut instinct, as they all say. And it really is, when you're a hardcore player like myself and Jason and you, Dan, and you follow various fantasy football YouTube channels, you follow various people on Twitter, fantasy football scout, and you get drawn into this mini niche world where you're like, oh my God, I've got a captain Sterling. If I don't, then I'm going to fail. I did a podcast with my triple captain Salah, and I didn't do it because of fear. That's what it is, Dan. It is just pure fear. And my biggest, I'm not going to be annoyed at myself for not triple captaining against Huddersfield, because I genuinely thought that Salah bringing him in as a transfer was a differential. I thought, no, I'm going to be really sneaky here and use my triple captain chip either on Gameweek 37, 38, but I didn't. And it didn't even pay off anyway, really. It's catching Jason, this is. Anybody that's watching, I'm referring to catching Jason. Done absolutely nothing. Yeah, Dan, just pure And if you remember in my solo podcast, I said that if I'd have bought in Hazard, I'd have triple captain him. And obviously, I know I didn't put him in, but you did, and you didn't captain him. So yeah, it's
funny. It is funny you say that about going with your gut instincts. So as I said in the previous live podcast we did, I'm kind of like, the main thing I want to do is finish above Dale Bellamy, because Dale Bellamy won our cash mini league. He's a good friend of mine, won our mini league last season. So he's just above me at the moment. But I bought in Hazard and I thought I captained him. Obviously I was in a rush, put the captain on him, didn't save it. And then Monday morning I'm looking at it and I'm like, Mane, captain? What? Is this a joke? So at least you actually said the right captain. So, but yeah, it's been a very frustrating game week regardless, really. I think a lot of players we've expected to deliver. I mean, Son getting sent off against Bournemouth, obviously Bournemouth winning 1-0. Eriksen not delivering for people, Aguero, Sterling. It's been frustrating. I don't know how you feel about it, Jason.
speechless here at the moment.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. It wouldn't be an FPL stream if I didn't mute my mic. But how long have you got, basically, is what I'm talking about. Since the wildcard failure and the catastrophe of the minus 20, obviously the minus 16 following on from my wildcard. I mean, I've just seen red arrow after red arrow week in, week out, and I'm lucky that I haven't dropped more than 1,000 places. I think decision making is kind of gone out the window a little bit. I've gone with the crowd on a lot of decisions, not necessarily like what you said with my gut. I'll bring my team up. My transfers were Jota in and Shaw in. And yeah.
Isn't it ironic, Joe,
4 points.
Shaw was responsible for the goal conceded as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It just seems to be like one of those like weeks where you just think, right, nothing's going to go right for you. But then obviously Trent Alexander-Arnold saved me really again, and Laporte. I mean, the bulk of my points coming from my two defenders.
Can I just say that when I dazedly looked at my phone at 3 o'clock in the bloody morning when I woke up for work and I click on livescore.com to see what the score was, and it was 3-2 to Liverpool, and I'm like, let's just see who scored. Oh, no, this is the thing. Oh, Salah, brilliant. Oh, damn, I didn't triple captain him. Let's see who got the assist. Oh.
It's the story. It's the story of the season for me and you, isn't it? Where like you've owned the score and I've owned the assister or something, or. I think it's just one of those where I've been onto Twitter and I've looked at other people's game week scores, and there's been some absolute howlers out there. FPL General, who I follow on Twitter, actually tweeted out saying he's unlocked a new FPL badge this week, scoring under 20 points in one game week, and he got 19. It's just really, really like a weird game week where a lot of the favourite picks just didn't deliver. Jimenez being another one. Lots of people had faith in Wolves. They just didn't do anything. And
well, to be fair, I mean, you know, I don't want to harp on about it, but in our predictions, where me and Dan did actually very well. And just to let everybody know, I did say that I was going to go to the bookmakers and put some money on each.
Did you do it?
Outcome. Now, why would I? But the thing is, here's the irony, of course.
You can't say you're going to do it and not do it.
Hold on a minute. Here's the irony, of course, is that I got 7 out of 10 as well outcomes right. So I would have been up in money, but You know, this is what happens when if you bet, you don't win. If you don't bet, you do win.
You just talk about it. Yeah. Well, we've got some people in chat now, so I just want to say hello to the regular viewers. We've got Notorious Nerd, we've got Nishal in chat, Jack Gleason's back in the chat, we've got John Harris, Paul Wilson, Michael Svedin, the Daily Llama. FPL stands for Fear Produces Losses. Absolutely, I agree with you on that one. And we've got Matt Henley in chat. Welcome, Matt, to the stream.
Who wrote that? Who wrote that?
FPL. That's Daily Llama. He has to put a joke in every now and again.
Good.
Alex A in chat. Welcome, guys. Got only one red arrow this week, said John Harris, and that was in the Elite FPL mini league. Obviously, Block FPL joined our mini league, so I'm dropped down. I was just going to switch it. So on the top left hand side, you can see our live table for the Elite FPL podcast league, and you can see that Chase Blocker, who block FPL. Solid at the top, and Magic Men for John Harris has been knocked down to second. You won't be very happy about that, I'm sure. But yeah, I think a lot of people are going to have mixed opinions about the game week. I think a lot of people are going to be looking towards the last game week now, game week 38, to try and end the season on a high. Because I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to get another red arrow. I think we've all got red arrows this week. Steve-O, you're 17,650. Dan, down to 187,245. What would it have been if your captaincy would have been confirmed on Hazard? And of course, I've dropped down to 1,242, which sounds brilliant, but considering where I was, 10 game weeks ago, it's slipping away from me. And I would like to finish in the top 1,000, but it's going to be really hard now. It's going to be really, really hard now.
Are you annoyed at yourself for using 2 free transfers, or do you just think no, they were the right decisions?
Am I annoyed at myself? I thought about it. I looked at Jota, I looked at Shaw, and I thought that United would comfortably keep a clean sheet. I know I was a bit arrogant. Obviously, going on United's defensive history, they've not been great, and it's just gone to show again. Form over fixtures has always got to be something you should look at, and United's defensive form at the moment is awful. But Luke Shaw has also got that threat, down the left. He could produce something. So, yeah. Am I a little bit disappointed? Of course, I would be lying if I said I wasn't. But they were logical moves at the end of the day, and they were popular moves. And I did say I played it really a little bit safe and with the crowd on this. And yeah, just it's not just me. A lot of people in the top 10k had a disappointing game week.
Yeah, Dan. How are you overall feeling going into the final game week? So just to let you know, you are. There's no chance you're getting into 4th place. You're 59 points behind 4th. Is it just literally just taking over Dale?
Yeah, I'm just really annoyed with myself. I was really happy that I brought Hazard in.
Can you explain what actually happened with you not saving your captain and what actually...
I don't know. User error, I guess. But like I said, I took out Eriksen and Son, and then I started to panic, thinking, "Oh my God, everyone thinks Tottenham are going to smash Bournemouth. People are captaining Son. Oh my God, what have I done? Son's got a great record against Bournemouth. What have I done? Oh, he's been doing off. Hey, it's Tottenham as well. They've lost." But then we drew and we fucked it up. But no, I just thought Hazard had something to prove. Possibly his last game at Stamford Bridge, potentially. I was at football on Sunday playing football. I was in goal. Bloke next to me, I was like, "Oh, what's the Chelsea score? Chelsea winning 3-0. Right, okay. Who got the assist?" And he looked at me like, "Hey?" Took his phone off him, live score app, and I was like, "Oh, Hazard got 2 assists." And I was like, "Yes!" So I don't know. I just obviously set the captain, didn't save it. I know Jason had it with Aubameyang earlier in the season. Obviously, you're busy, you press one thing and you rush. But in a way, I don't really care. I think what it's taught me is that, like you said about fear, it's like, all right, I didn't select it or whatever, but I went with my gut instinct, and my gut instinct was right, regardless of the fact that happened. So It's
FPL Booners.
Are you?
Sorry, Dan. FPL Booner's got to go. So I just wanted to just say this before he leaves the stream because he's got to go out and catch up later on. But he wants to say thanks for top 4, and I couldn't agree more. I mean, Arsenal United have. They're not looking like they even care about top 4 this season.
I think, it was a good win against Valencia, but against Brighton, it was always going to... I think you said 1-1, didn't you, in our predictions last week? I think you said 1-1, Jay.
Yeah, I think I might have done, actually. Stephen's got the book.
No, what, are you talking about this game week?
This game week just gone, yeah.
Jason said 1-1, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean... no, it was just one of those things, like another dead performance from Mkhitaryan. Xhaka giving away a terrible penalty. Brighton could have won at the end. Leno made a great save, and it's the same old thing. And the saddest thing is that Ramsey, that was his last time at the Emirates, and if he was still there, I think we'd have won that game. But there you go. That's us. We've got to win the Champions League. We've got to win the Europa now.
I was going to say, Dan, for your transfer of Antonio, how are you feeling did you do the match of the day challenge? Did you do that? Did you do the usual?
I didn't. No. I was at my...
So you actually knew the Southampton game. So when it ended, funny enough, going on the history, now the last 3 times this fixture has been played at West Ham's ground, it's ended 3-0 to either one of the teams. But anyway, what were you thinking when you saw it was 3-0 to Southampton and Antonio got nothing? That's one of your differentials as well.
Like I said, Southampton were already safe, and it's one of those ones. It's a bit like you expecting them to experiment for next season and try different players, try different formations, and that West Ham have been on some good form. But like we said in the previous podcast, West Ham always turn up against the bigger teams, and when it comes to the teams in and around them, they flop. And yeah, Southampton have kind of been on this good wave of form. I've always been talking up Ward-Prowse, and yeah, I was disappointed, but it was a bit of a punt. I was looking at Jota as well. So either way, it wouldn't have really paid. I think this particular game week, it's like been a lot of promise that's failed to deliver. I was pleased with Trent Alexander-Arnold. He was the best thing about my wild card in game week 34. And yeah, obviously Jimenez not delivering, Aguero not delivering, and I'm losing my voice here. But yeah, happy that I brought Hazard in. Kind of looking at players for next season, looking at Valerie, looking at Hudson-Odoi, maybe Harvey.
Well, talking of next season.
Thinking of next season, Norwich. Congratulations.
So I've had a little bit of a think about Block FPL joining the Elite FPL Podcast League on Game Week 37, and I agree that it's a bit unfair. So don't worry about that, John. I've also decided that the top 3 players at the end of the season in the Elite FPL Podcast League will get an Elite FPL mug with first, second, and third place trophy with a trophy on it with their username on it as well. So the winner would be a winner's mug, a second and a third place mug for those in the Elite FPL Podcast League. Obviously, that's going to exclude Block FPL purely because he joined Game Week 37, and I do think that it would be unfair to give him the prize for first, and I'm sure he would completely agree with me because when we had him on the stream, we spoke afterwards, and I said, "Oh, you should join our podcast league," and he said, "Yeah, I would," but I felt it was unfair. But he would be more than happy with that. So you guys, so as it stands, got Daniel Ash, Nishal, and John Harris would be getting this prizes unless there's a late push from anyone else.
Brilliant. I completely agree. No, what I was going to say, Dan, was something that stood out to me this game week, and I wonder if people in chat would agree, but we're all banging on about Milivojevic next season, penalty taker, VAR, all this malarkey. I'll tell you a player that I may be even doubling up on, because Zaha will be classified as a midfielder next year, and I think that getting Zaha and Milivojevic next year is going to be, God, that could be that could be the Mane and Salah of this year, Dan. What do you think?
It could be good. I mean, it just depends where Zaha is next season, really. I mean, he's stated ambition to play Champions League football, so, you know, he could rock up at Spurs or Chelsea, perhaps, you know. But if he stays at Palace, you know, that could be a good sort of differential double up, so to speak. You know, with Zaha, that's what Palace have been doing all season. You know, they've won so many penalties on the counter-attack. Zaha's just like this old school winger that does all these tricks, takes on players, draws challenges, wins penalties. Milivojevic puts them away. And one day I'll be able to say his name correctly, but he's been a great budget asset for many teams this season. So, and with VAR, Arsenal would have had a penalty on Sunday, but that's gone now.
I was reading an interesting article on Reddit about VAR, and that obviously the leagues that it's been introduced into, after the first 7 game weeks of the season in the respective leagues, it's not really made much of a difference in terms of percentage of penalties given. So what seems to happen is, after like the first wave of games, you know, the first 5-6 game weeks, players start to understand a little bit more on how they should play around VAR. And I mean, I'm not saying it's going to necessarily affect, be the same for FPL, because I think there will be an increase of penalties, because I think the nature of the Premier League is a lot fast paced, dribbles in the box. There's going to be ball to hand. There's going to be handballs. There's going to be missed time tackles, of course. But yeah, maybe I'm personally going to err on the side of caution to load up on penalty takers though, or and likely penalty winners. That I think anyway.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, don't get me wrong. Funny enough, when I was listening to a podcast the other day, and you know, he was asked a question in chat, which is, oh God, aren't you worried about what Robertson's going to be priced at, what Alexander Arnold's going to be priced at? We're not going to be able to get them in our teams and everything. The whole world is going to collapse around us. We have to choose the perfect. And he just simply replied with, "We say this every year, and then when we start the season, we have give or take the perfect team that we believe and we all fit in and stuff." And certainly, I'm not going to be like you just said, looking at just pure penalty takers, but it is going to have a bearing on our thought process.
Why can't Leighton Baines be 5 years younger? I mean, it would have been perfect, wouldn't it? It would have been perfect.
But talking of like news in general, Dan, what did you think of or even Jason? I mean, both of you, the 1-0 victory. Did it warrant 1-0 last night, or could there have been more goals?
Oh, it was managed. It was. Sorry. Go on, Dan.
Yeah, no, I was just listening to it on a well-known radio station actually last night. I didn't actually watch the game in full, but it sounded like City had a lot of possession. Bernardo Silva was probing. They were going away. Aguero had a shot cleared off the line. I think it sounded like the victory was deserved. I think Leicester started the game quite brightly from reading the match report. But yeah, ultimately, you know, Vincent Kompany from 30 yards, and looks like the title was more or less City's, really. I mean, I don't know what Jason thought of the game.
Yeah, I think it was quite a nervous game for City. Obviously, as the game went on and Kompany got that goal, I think they just managed the game, because obviously they were always going to be possibly vulnerable in the counter-attack to Vardy. But yeah, that was one hell of a goal by Vincent Kompany, assisted by Laporte of all people. And I kind of got City off the hook, because I almost thought that the game was going to sort of fizzle out and it was going to be a 0-0. Up until that point, and I actually switched off halfway into the second half. So yeah, wow. I had other things to do, but yeah, that's my opinion on it. Anyway, I think they were kind of a little bit fortunate to get that goal.
Yeah, sorry, just in general, I've got to say though, like Aguero and Sterling, last few particular game weeks have not really been that great, to be honest with you. It seemed like they were essential to get in. And as I mentioned before, in my kind of mini league rival battle with the teams above me, not all of the teams have got Aguero and Sterling. Some teams haven't got both. And I was like, right, this is a differential for me in a double game week 36. And when they went to United, I was thinking, okay, if they do so, I don't care about my worldwide rank. I care about getting up the mini league in that context of my season. But then they just, I think Sterling got 1 assist over the 2 games in that particular game week. And it's like, yeah, it's just certain heavy hitters over the last few game weeks have just kind of let me down. Whereas Trent Alexander-Arnold is probably second only to Jimenez in my kind of FPL player of the season in terms of value and what he's delivered, really.
Yeah, well, if you go back to the games where... Sorry, Steve-O, but if you go back to the games where City were winning 4, 5 and 6, scoring 5, 6 goals, teams would be caught by their blistering attack as well as their tiki-taka sort of pass and move play. Well, it seems that now that teams... correct me if I'm wrong, but... It just seems to me that teams have kind of now worked out that they need to transition faster and get themselves back behind the ball quicker, and then try to press. And I think what happens is when City are on the attack and the transition changes for the defending team, they get back quicker. This is what I've noticed, and they've also started to press City, and then City then start to have to play the ball sideways, as opposed to make those defence... And also, of course, not having De Bruyne, for a lot of the season as well. Because people really underestimate his ability to just pick a pass out of nothing. And his vision's amazing. And I think, City had to play a bit differently against Leicester than what I thought. I thought there'd be a bit more space for City, but there wasn't a lot of space.
Yeah.
And ironically, it's Salah who's the most informed, big hitting player at the moment, to seem to be consistently, bringing in the points. But
we don't know what his injury status is. He's not going to be playing against Barcelona.
Well, Klopp said that he's not going to play. Yeah, he's not going to play tonight, but he said he's going to be available for the weekend. That's what he said.
That, has he?
Whether he starts or not is a completely different thing. But we're talking about our mini league. One of the main talking points coming out of this particular game week is how this game week has affected our cash mini league, and I'm sure everybody watching this, they all have various cash mini leagues that they take seriously, and there's all ramification stuff. Well, in our mini league, it's not quite like the Premier League. So you've got Jason, he's 96 points clear of me in first. Me in second, I'm 65 points clear for third spot. This is when it gets interesting though. So between third and fourth, there's just 8 points. Between fourth and fifth, there's 14. And between fourth and seventh, there's 27 points. And that person in seventh is Pete Andrews, the player that's just shooting up the league. And then all of a sudden, it's just taken a massive drop. He's only got 31 points this week, which is just absolutely it's not quite as bad as the FPL general, but quite a lot of differentials in his team. But talking of differentials, and Dan brought it up. So, so Ben Towler, he's got going on Connor Lee's team, who's third. Ben Towler has got 10 differentials to Connor. Terry Roos has 11. But then Darren Monday and Pete Andrews have 7 and 6 respectively. And with the points gap between, say, 5th and 7th so high, 27 points, it really does look like it's going to come down to almost Terry Roos in 5th, who's only 14 points behind Ben, really trying to get into that 4th spot position, to be honest with you. Dan is 59 points off 4th alone. Now, if people are listening thinking, well, what's this got to do with 4th and 3rd? And everything? We do cash places for 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. So, and like Dan said, he wants to, just from an ego perspective, just wants to get ahead of Dale. But He is he's 8 points behind Dale at the moment. That's easily achievable, Dan. You'd like to think.
I shouldn't be 8 points behind them. I should have bloody clicked the save button and captain Hazard as I meant to, but lesson learned.
Yeah, because you're virtually 21 points clear of 11th, so you've pretty much cemented 10th or 9th, one of the two, depending on how this particular game week goes coming up.
Well, hang on, he could get 8th, to be fair, because 8th is the same points as Dale.
Same points as as Dale, yes. But of course, if we look at Dan Endicott's team, I mean, he's got a lot of different. Wow, when you look at it, you're like, now that is one hell of a differential team. For anybody not knowing what his team is, so in defence alone,
I'll bring it up on
Leno,
screen.
Trippier, Van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Wan-Bissaka and Bowley. That's just like a defence. You're like, whoa, my goodness. So he's clearly playing as as you can see here, from almost like a 4-4-2, 4-5-1 formation each week, because his two strikers he's got 3 strikers, but you don't really count Llorente. So Mitrovic and Wilson. Midfielders Sterling, Mane, Pogba, Milivojevic and Hudson-Odoi is final, but it really doesn't matter there. But yeah, very, very tight in our mini league, Dan, and it's going to be really interesting to see who really comes out on 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, I mean, Pete Andrews just he won the cup. He was the last team in our mini league to stay in the FPL Cup, so he's won that prize already. He's won the prize for the highest game week score of the season
so far.
So if he was to get into the top 4, then that could be kind of a treble, a Liverpool sort of treble of sorts, a treble that you could claim. But the last 2 game weeks has just really suffered, and it is interesting. It's how I feel about it is that I was ahead of these people for so long in the season, and in the last 2-3 months have just derailed that completely, and people like Dale and Pete have just pulled up. But I mean, Dan Endicott's team is differential. I mean, he started with Mitrovic up front and then 4-5-1, which is I've never played 4-5-1. Always play with a minimum of 2 strikers, so that was quite interesting to see. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. I've just got a sneaky feeling that Pete will ruffle something up, because he's had all these calculated gambles all season that seem to have paid off. So I think that he'll just pull it out of the bag somehow. He likes to gamble, does Pete, and I think he'll just do it. But like you said, from an ego point of view, to finish above last season's champion Dale, I could see him in Torbay during the summer, and it would be quite nice to rub it in his face, but he'll probably finish above me now I've said all that. So it will be interesting. What are people in chat saying, Jason? Have you got any thoughts on this discussion so far?
Yeah, so John Harris has mentioned about Lacazette being like a shit since he's brought him in. I'm in exactly the same position as John Harris. I mean, I've been kidding myself that Arsenal have got goals in Lacazette in the Premier League, and ever since bringing him in,
he scored twice last Thursday. Thank you very much.
No, in the Premier League. I'm talking about in the Premier League. Everything else is immaterial. This is FPL, and I was confident that he would be able to do something, but I don't know. John Harris was also singing his praises, saying he's going to keep in Lacazette. It kind of possibly influenced me as well. And apparently, Jack Leeson has said that 19-year-old Ryan Brewster, Championship manager legend Ryan Brewster, for Liverpool is a substitute striker. Yes, he's apparently really quite impressive for the Liverpool youth team, and he's loved around. What's the Liverpool training ground called? Melwood. That's it. He's loved around the Melwood training ground by quite a lot of people. So he's not even in FPL. No, he's not. But he's an up and coming talent apparently. Sean Tan in chat says Salah's season is likely over. Possibly he'll come on for game 38. I think it'd be unlikely that he'll start, because I believe for head injuries they have to give a minimum of, I think it's a minimum of a week before games for a head injury, for concussion. I think So Sunday, yeah, mate. Would it be over a week?
Yeah,
it would be.
They played Saturday night, Sunday afternoon. And
yeah, it was Saturday evening, wasn't it? It was Saturday evening. So he would technically be over that 1 week concussion thing. But I don't know what the extent of his injury was. I've not read anything or seen anything because I've been working all day today.
I think Klopp was saying that they can't obviously make it for tonight because it's concussion. Like, they got to give it a week. But I reckon he'll start Sunday. It's such a big game as well, you know. I mean, Brighton, they played really well against us. They played well against Tottenham. They played well against City. They seem to be good at sitting deep, and they've got Dunk and Duffy, the two basketball bouncers, as I call them, at the back there, just blocking and, you know, doing everything, tackling, gas tackling. I wish we had a defender like that. But yeah, so it could be interesting Sunday. But come on, I mean, we expect City to win it, don't we? Really.
Sean's giving us the medical stuff in the chat at the moment about returning to play. I mean, I don't know, the cynicism.
Oh, do you want to hear?
I mean, the thing is with it being the last game week, I think Klopp will probably, knowing Klopp, he'll be arguing with all the medical staff at Liverpool to try and convince them that he's okay to play. But yeah, I understand that there's a strict procedure, but I don't know enough information in terms of what the injury was. I assume it was concussion. I assume it was a blow to the head because that's what it looked like. But
it looked bad.
It did look bad, but then it may have just been a precaution that they took the stretcher and, you know, possibly a neck injury. Maybe they thought there might have been a break in the neck or something. You just don't know. But apparently Sean's an MD, so he probably knows a lot more than I do. Sean, do you think that Salah will be starting, or at least featuring?
Well, this is the team news for tonight. So the back four, as you'd expect, of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Matty Van Dijk and Robertson, Jordan Henderson, Fabinho and James Milner. But it's the front three which interests me, and I'll tell you what, if it was definitely clarified that Salah was out on Sunday and this was the front three, I'd seriously be tempted to get these two in, being Shaqiri and Origi. So it's Shaqiri, Origi and Mane up front against Barcelona. And this I mean, we're going to go into length more in depth on whenever we next do the podcast doing our preview, which will be either Thursday or Friday, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But this particular game is going to be wait to the press conferences, because at the moment, obviously, everybody's emergency transfer is going to be getting rid of Son. That's a definite. And a lot of people have sideways switched to Pogba. I have no idea why, but I do know why. But like Jason said, form over fixtures. For me personally, I've got 2 free transfers, and Son's definitely gone. Calvert-Lewin's somebody that I'm looking at to get rid of, but knowing my luck, he'll probably go and score a hat-trick against Tottenham. But yeah, it's going to be down to what happens in the press conferences, and absolutely, if Shaqiri's mentioned to be starting versus Wolves, I may be tempted to bring him in as a replacement for Salah, because and I'll bring it up in a minute, he seems to have done really, really well every time he's been called upon for Liverpool. But what do you think? What are your thoughts on Shaqiri, Dan? Maybe, doing really well tonight and then, trying to prove himself, really.
Well, he got the assist on Saturday evening against Newcastle for the winner for Origi. So, he's always seems to have done really well when he's come in. And I think I said about him as one of the signings of the season in our preview podcast, way back in August, right at the start. So I think he's kind of justified his value. So if he does start on Sunday, he's got to prove a point for next season, and it's an important game for Liverpool. And if he does, if he got a goal tonight, even if Liverpool don't go through, confidence is going to be up, and he could be a really nice differential to get in there if you want to get ahead of a mini-league rival. So, yeah, I've always rated Shaqiri. I've always thought he's a good player.
Paul Wilson in chat is second time he's posted it, I think. Sorry, Paul, I didn't read it out before. Trent Alexander-Arnold is likely to be reclassified as a midfielder next season, by the way. Gomez is the preferred right back for Klopp, just throwing it out there. I don't think they classify... They don't classify players because of preferred positions. So obviously Trent's played as a wing back. So I would imagine he will remain a defender. Yeah. If Klopp had thrown him in as a midfielder, you could argue that they would look at possibly changing his position.
Like Ashley Young, isn't it?
Yeah.
And James Milner.
I would be absolutely gobsmacked myself, Paul, if Trent Alexander-Arnold was reclassified as a midfielder. In fact, I'd put money on it that he won't be switched over to a midfielder. And we got John Hatcher saying, I might go Son to a Chelsea player, but Shaqiri sounds like a good option too. Chelsea.
I think, talking to Chelsea, I was seriously thinking of bringing in Loftus-Cheek for the last game, but I thought Leicester were going to destroy him. I think Leicester were going to win something like 3 or 4-0. Really? I just think Chelsea are going to play kids because they're going to be taking the Europa League so seriously now. They're going to go through against Frankfurt or whatever they're called, and they're not going to want to risk anybody against Leicester. Leicester are going to. I think Leicester are going to now. Chelsea are guaranteed top 4. Third, fourth, whatever. They don't care. They're going to put out a load of kids, and they're not going to do anything against Leicester. Leicester will. In fact, I'm seriously thinking of bringing in Vardy and captaining him.
We'll discuss that more in our preview podcast. But yeah, sorry, Dan. What were you going to say?
No, I see what Steve-O's saying. I mean, but Leicester, Chelsea have got some pretty good backup players as well, like Loftus-Cheek and Christensen and. Pedro's in and out of the team, isn't he, as well? So be interesting. It'll just be my luck that Hazard will get rested on Sunday. So, but yeah, we'll see.
But Hazard's form away from Chelsea is terrible anyway, so I wouldn't be panicking about Hazard potentially doing anything. His form away from home is his home form, which is key to him. So
I'm looking forward to you guys going through the fixtures, obviously later on this week when we do the preview, because there's not a lot of great standout fixtures for me that and I know that I've actually done my transfer, and obviously Jimenez is someone that's a lot of people are getting out is probably going to drop in price this evening. So watch out for those if you are looking at possibly removing Jimenez. So yeah, I just I can't wait to just forget about Gameweek 37 really. I've lost my train of thought. Steve-O, carry on talking.
No, I was just going to say, we'll just quickly briefly look over the Elite FPL podcast mini league, which is what you lot are obviously involved in. We're going to take aside block FPL. We've already discussed reasonings as to why. So, unofficially, John Harris is top, 2,420 points. In fact, where is John in the overall rankings here? Because obviously he was doing so well, and now he's just dropped. So he's 466. John there. He captained Sterling. It was one of those, actually, funny enough, when whenever the game updates and you look at particularly really good players, and John Harris was something I was like, oh, I wonder who he captained. And when you see Sterling, you're like, oh, thank God. Somebody that's doing really well is captain Sterling, just like me. And well, we all know what happened there. Doherty, of course, coming in with the points there, with the assist and the clean sheet and 3 bonus. Trent Alexander-Arnold. Hazard, he joked with you the other day, Dan, on our live stream regarding you bringing him in. And, of course, Hazard did his usual home form, doing really, really well. I'll tell you what I did want to show you, though, Jason, and people that are on the, in chat, watching this live, or anybody that's just watching this, if you actually look at Block FPL's bench, and it's just frightening when you look at it, and it's like Fabianski in goal, 6 points, Bowley, 6 points, Fraser, 9 points, just sat there. And then, you look, his transfer that he did was bringing in Milivojevic and Luke Shaw. And I mean, people at Block must be like, they're so high up in the overall rankings, and when they see that, their heart must just sink.
I mean, he also, he's been talking about Kolasinac. I mean, I remember a few weeks ago when we had him on, and he almost threw up whenever we mentioned Kolasinac's name, and playing Kolasinac over Fraser. is interesting. But then, I mean, I can't talk. I played Leno in goal, but at least he got me a save point.
Save points.
Yeah. I mean, United defenders and Arsenal defenders have got to be a stay away for me and for anyone else that's possibly looking to change up their defenders at the moment. It's unlucky. It's unlucky, really, because that Luke Shaw on a different day would have got his foot to that, and possibly would have got a clean sheet.
Well, I mean, Lassanac obviously played last Thursday, and it's one of those things. Like, I've been watching him all season. He just bombs on the left wing, gets into positions, and his crossing's terrible. Like, the only reason he's been getting assists is just purely the fact that the guys. He just keeps going. It's not like Robertson or Trent Alexander-Arnold, which is like pinpoint balls in all the time. It's just sheer persistence against these like lesser teams.
Yeah, if you throw 100 crosses in, you're going to get 2 assists every now and again, aren't you?
You got Lacazette and Aubameyang, but obviously he didn't play Sunday, and then he came on late as a sub. But yeah, Arsenal, Man United defenders. I mean, let's be honest, both our teams have had a crap season. Well, in the league, really. So when it's mattered towards the end, excuse the pun.
Paul Wilson 14's asked me in chat: Is it worth considering Rashford at home? Lukaku rumours are that his season is over. Hello, FPL pillars. Welcome to the stream. It's glad to have you. Man United. I don't think. Who would it be for? Who are you going to take out? Who's your transfer going to be? Because I don't know if Rashford. I mean, Cardiff have been awful, but United at the moment, I would stay away from. My FPL hat on, I would stay away from United. They just aren't playing. They aren't playing very well. If you've taken Jimenez out for Rashford, and you haven't got any other options, and that's the one position you want to transfer out is Jimenez. What do you guys think? I personally would. I don't know.
I mean, are United going to perhaps just bring in some of the youth players, because it's the last game of the season at Old Trafford? It's kind of a.
Well, Ollie said in his post. Sorry, Dan, but Ollie did mention that there's going to be players. Some players aren't going to be playing for United again. So just obviously the form of certain players has been atrocious, and I don't know. I just from a Man United as a fan point of view, I want to say bring Rashford in because he's a great player and he'll score goals. But from an FPL point of view, there's nothing I can draw from Rashford that would actually indicate that he's going to do anything. So I would, as a pure FPL person, I would probably turn around and say no, don't bring him in. But then, sod's law, he'll end up doing something.
It really all depends on people's positions, like we've already discussed, like regarding mini leagues. So for someone like myself, I say genuinely, but I'm going to be looking at bringing in 2 free transfers which are different. I've already mentioned it, Shaqiri, Origi, as an example of 2 differential players that no one's going to be buying if they're confirmed to play. Everton, Sigurdsson potentially, Richarlison maybe. Funny enough, I can't remember who it was, but someone did mention to me about bringing in Foth of Spurs, and look what happened on the weekend as an example.
Foth.
People like Rashford, I wouldn't be. I mean, consider it. I mean, he's like their main striker if Lukaku isn't playing and whatnot, but I would be more looking at players which Chelsea, as an example, Loftus-Cheek is an excellent player, and when it comes to fantasy football, does return points. Leicester, Vardy is captain. It's like Jason used that word the other day of calculated differentials. There's logic behind it. For example, Vardy captain against Chelsea. There is actually some form of logic to it. I wouldn't be going at Burnley, for an example, like Chris Wood or Ashley Barnes versus Arsenal. Don't worry about players like that. Brighton, Glenn Murray, and Man City I was thinking about, actually. If maybe Pep Guardiola says, do you know what, we're going to play Mahrez, Sane, Sane, not necessarily after last night, but Mahrez, Jesus as an example,
Well, yeah.
Players which are logical but aren't really going to don't be taking out, like, for example, I don't know, if you own Salah and he's guaranteed to start and you go, do you know what, I'm a bit worried he's not guaranteed, I'm going to bring Shaqiri. That'd be foolish. But for me, taking out Calvert-Lewin for Shane Long as an example, make logic to it.
As anything, like if you look at like past game weeks, if anything's there to show you that playing it safe and going with popular picks doesn't really pay off that a lot, and you've got one game week to roll the dice. Like,
yeah,
if you're like, I know, 5-10 points behind your rival in the mini league, or you're looking to possibly break into a respectable overall ranking, maybe you're just outside the top 10,000, maybe you're just outside the top 50,000 or 100,000, you're not going to break into that bracket by playing it safe and keep, like, I'm going to go back on what I've just said now. All right, Jimenez, to me, I wouldn't be confident against Liverpool. If you're going to be using that slot, if you're going to have that position playing, then Rashford, yeah, I mean it's a risk, but this game is about risk. This FPL is about taking risks sometimes. You've seen me take risks this season. Sometimes they pay off, sometimes they don't. You've got one game week to try and make up points that you haven't gained in previous game weeks, and you're going to have to take a risk. If you're going to be successful, you're going to have to take a risk. I'm not saying you need to like chop and change 3 or 4 places and take a hit. Then no, I mean, but if you've got a feeling that a player is going to do something, if you got a gut instinct that Rashford, or like Steve-O said about Liverpool assets and Shaqiri, sometimes you just have this feeling that a player is going to do something. And part of the fun in FPL, in my opinion, is taking risks. And you can be in a position.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've taken enough risks.
Isn't it funny though, Jason? We're talking about what we were saying, going full circle regarding how I feel my season's gone over the last 5 or 6 game weeks regarding, not going with my gut and everything. When you've got nothing to play for, I just want to bring up a friend of ours that we know, Matt James, his team. I kind of looked at it and I was like,
where is he? Where is he currently?
He's 17th.
17th.
He's on 63 points. But when you look at his team, you're like, oh, wow, I would never have thought about bringing in well, there it is, Loftus-Cheek as an example. He's got David Luiz. I know he didn't play, but John Stones. He's captain Aubameyang. No one here would be bringing any of those players in. There was another player in our...
Brighton.
I just want to say very quickly, because I make it because this is the last game week, and do you know how you felt in the past where you've thought about maybe bringing a player in, maybe a differential, maybe it would be Rashford, maybe it would be Shaqiri, maybe it would be Chong, like was mentioned by Nishal in chat earlier on. Like, maybe you've thought about bringing these players in, and like the game week after, you felt really bad or gutted because you've gone with the crowd or you've chickened out, and ultimately it hasn't really done anything to you in terms of game week overall, or it's not done much in terms of mini league. But imagine it's game week 38. You've then got to wait until the whole of next season on that last game week disappointment. Do you know what I mean? On the disappointment on how you ended the season on a low.
Another team to bring up in our mini league, and this particular individual is at the moment May's manager of the month, and it's someone called Vito Persanovic. Serb FC, he's 40th in our mini league. Overall, he's 2.5 million.
Who's this?
He got
What's his
95 name? Points. He's 40th in our mini league. Vito Persanovic. I don't know who that is. But the point being is that when you look at his team, so again, talking of, just going for it, game week 38. Now I'm fully aware this is quite obvious.
Is this our mini league you're talking about?
Our mini league,
yeah. It's league. I was one of Dan Benson's friends.
Right, okay.
Oh, I'm bringing him up. Oh, wow.
His
okay.
team, Edison in goal, Kyle Walker, Laporte, Van Dijk, Digne, Richarlison, Townsend, Salah, Camarasa, Murray, and captain Aubameyang, and he got 95 points and ended up 3,500 in the world. overall rank for that points. And you look at that team, you just like, that's just, a ghost team. But wow, just for like a game week 37 punt as an example, bringing these players, although like players like Townsend, Glenn Murray, I mean, you would never have thought about bringing them in, but this is what you're talking about, Jason. Just if you have this real gut feeling, just go with Rashford. If you think Rashford's going to do something against Cardiff, go with Rashford.
Yeah,
because I was even thinking, I know he's not, I know he's probably going to be ruled out, but I was genuinely thinking, like, if Lukaku was past fit and guaranteed to start against Cardiff, I may even consider bringing him in for Aguero. It won't happen, but I'm just making the point that, Lukaku on the final day against a rubbish Cardiff team already relegated. Why not? Neil Warnock's going to be playing, kids. Huddersfield against Southampton, they're going to be playing probably kids as well. I don't care. It's going to be, like I say, we're going to go more in depth on our Gameweek 38 pod, but yeah, I think people worrying about who to be bringing in, don't worry, because you've got money galore there. I've seen quite a lot of people in chat worried about price drops. I really wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah.
Probably the player to bring in, for example, like the popular player to be bringing in is Redmond. He's 5.5. If you haven't got a player in your midfield Son is 8.7 or 8.6 or whatever.
Yeah.
You've still got 2 million change. Give me that 2 million. I'll get someone. Do you know what I mean? What do you think on this subject, Dan?
Yeah, I think it's how I feel like the last 2 game weeks when I kind of, I saved my chips for so long. I'm a free chips, and it just didn't work out. The only one that worked was the triple captain. But when I played that was with my gut instinct. Mane, Huddersfield, I just thought that was my gut instinct. Went with that. Bringing in Hazard, gut instinct. It's players with teams with things to play for at this stage of the season. So I think Aguero will definitely do something against Brighton because it's that stage of the season where you can just see, Aguero score, City win the title. You can just see it now. But I think it makes a lot of sense. But because obviously with yourself, it's like there's that fear factor. But with me, it was just like, just get Hazard in. He's got good home record. Feel comfortable, not worried about losing anything. I think like Jason's saying, it's like, we're not going to have FPL for a long time. It's going to be like, it's been a long season, but it's gone quick as well. And it's like, you just want to go out with one last blast and just be like, oh, solid, let's just go for it. All those game weeks where you had threats about not going with your gut instincts, and I kept saying that, and you just think, at least I've had a go. At least I've put in some complete, put Captain Sigurdsson on the last day of the season, just for why not, and just go for it. And then at least you can say you went out with a bang. So
I've got to say, Dan, going on what you just said about the season going quick, I've got to say, going on to YouTube has made this season just fly by. Doing 2-3 podcasts a week, and sometimes 4 or 5 in my case, doing like some. But the point being is whoa, it's just gone, it's just vanished. And
yeah. I am gonna miss FPL. Like, even saying it's like the last game week, even though I've been like, oh no, it's been a terrible season, blah blah blah. I've been like, oh, I haven't got to think about anyone to captain. I want to bring this up to you guys just quickly. It's like, if you could think of a differential budget player for next season, I'm going to say Valerie from Southampton, because Southampton have finished the season really strongly, and he's obviously been quite, obviously we don't know what value these players are going to be next season, but he's quite cheap at the moment. He's quite attacking, up and coming player. That could be, someone to consider.
Well, a few seasons back, there was a little known team called Leicester, and they won the Premier League. And the season prior to that, though, you were saying about Mahrez, and you said, oh man, this player looks really, really good. Following season, when they win the league, he was basically captaining them every week. But I'll tell you a player for Leicester who, if he does, I am right in saying Telemans is on loan.
Telemans.
From Monaco. So, Telemans, yeah. So if he was signed permanently by Leicester, because I don't think he's a player that's just playing for the sake of, I want to prove to Monaco I'm worth it. But I honestly think that he could be the next Mahrez next season. If, for example, he was to come in probably maybe 7 million next year, because he is flaming taken to the Premier League like nothing, like a duck to water.
He seems to link up really well with Madison, and he seems to just enjoy playing in that Leicester team as well, because they've got a lot of creative attacking players. And yeah, he's been a brilliant loan sign, and I just wish Arsenal got him. We got Denis Suarez, who's played about 2 minutes, and now he's decided that he's got a groin injury, and he's just had basically a holiday in London for 4 or 5 months or whatever. But yeah, Tielemans. However you say it, he's been a great loan signing.
Yeah, for me, it's got to be Diego Jota. But I think next season you're going to see more of him, and he's had a great season already. But I think you can see more from him, and in partnership with him as well. I think Wolves are going to be a force next season as well. And
my understanding with Jota though was last season in the Championship he started off really slowly and then started scoring all his goals and assists. And it's the same with this season. Started off really slowly, then the end of the season he started doing really well. I'm more worried about Wolves, Europa League. Is their squad big enough? Yeah, they're going to buy players. I'm fully aware of this and stuff, but I think that I may avoid Wolves. Again, we don't need to discuss this now, but
all right, and Timu Pukki then. That's my
yeah.
Get in Timu.
Interesting.
Yeah,
interesting to Sheffield United, Norwich, and then you got the playoffs. I'll be keeping an eye on the playoffs. Always interesting. I hope Villa get back up. I think Villa's a big team. Interesting to see them back in the Premier League. And yeah, it's always already thinking of next season already. I mean that's the mindset of an FPL manager, looking at pre-season friendlies and speculating about what players are going to be worth, and yeah, so it's crazy.
All right, well that pretty much brings us to a close. Dan, if you want to say farewell, I just want to just finish off with just before you close up. I just want to say thanks to everyone that's joined in chat. We've got a few people in chat talking about John Harris saying about McNeil maybe next year being an absolute bargain.
He plays for Burnley. I wouldn't worry about that.
Wow.
Hey?
I should say McNeil's done really well.
He has done really well. Yeah, absolutely.
He's a good player.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Guys, also feel free to connect with us on Instagram and Twitter at Elite FPL. If you haven't done it, why have you not done it? Please do it now. Of course, if you joined us live tonight, thanks for joining us. If you're watching us on the replay, please do subscribe if you've enjoyed what you've seen, and give us any feedback as well. We've been a growing channel this year and really appreciate all the support. And enjoy the football tonight, and look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon.
Score predictions this evening. Liverpool, Barcelona.
2-1 to Liverpool.
I honestly, if Salah and Firmino were fit, this is before I knew anything, I genuinely said 4-0. But I think it's going to be a tight game, 0-0, 1-0 either way, 2-1.
2-2.
I think it's more in favour of Liverpool.
There you go, 2-2.
Barcelona aren't that great away from home, but
cool.
We'll see.
Have a good night, everybody. See you for the preview later this week. Keep an eye on Twitter and Instagram.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Hello there, and welcome to our Elite FPL.
Pun where Shaw's lights were knocked out. Dan, you may want to turn on your light because you're.
Chat said that Steve-O, if you bench Alonso and he returns, you have to get a history tattoo.
Well, people in chat saying, Jack, before we move on to the Elite FPL.
First of all, my name isn't Jack. Right, okay, I'm gonna let Dan speak because it seems to be mainly me. And go, Dan. Go ahead. What are you gonna do?
It's absolutely fascinating.
Jason, try and just stop.
Right. Okay. Right. I'm.